Hi everyone, I am going live tonight with the lovely Gemma Gilbert from Gemma Gilbert Coaching. She's going to join me tonight to talk a little bit about the power of a morning routine. Right, let's just get that in place there. So we're going to be talking about the power of a morning routine. So I'm just going to wait for Gemma to hop on and join us. And then when she does, we'll get started. And we're going to have a time at the end as well. If anyone wants to ask any questions, then obviously you can pop them as we're going along, or you can join us at the end as well. So let's just see if I can do that. Let's see, is she on? There. Super. Cool, there she is. You, Gemma. Hopefully the connection will be all right. Perfect.
Hi.
Hello. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you? Can you hear me okay?
Yes, nice and clear. Super. Right, so as I was saying, this is Gemma Gilbert from Gemma Gilbert Coaching, and she's going to be talking to us a little bit today about the power of a morning routine. And I know it's something that some of my clients have spoken to me about before. It's one of the things that people maybe struggle with a little bit. So it'll be a good topic for us to have a little chat about. So to start with then, Gemma, do you want to tell everyone a little bit about you?
Yeah, absolutely. So I am a business coach. I set up my business in August 2018. I've just left my full-time job, which is super exciting.
Yeah.
So focusing on my business full-time since this January. And specifically, I work with mums in service-based businesses, and I help them find more clients and grow their business and basically get more visible online.
Yeah, awesome. That's really cool. So I know there's probably quite a few people who will be watching this either live or later on who are definitely in that sort of demographic. So maybe they might want to find you afterwards and come and have a look and see what you do. So
Yeah.
I think it was probably a couple of weeks ago now, wasn't it? You did a live group that I was in. And there was a live challenge going on, and we were all asked to, over the week, go live in both that group and in our own groups. And one of the days we did top tips, and obviously the things that you spoke about was about a morning routine and how people can sort of start to implement that, because you've got a bit of expertise yourself there, haven't you?
Yeah, I'm going to take these off because I'm finding them super distracting. Can you still hear me clearly without them?
Yeah.
Good.
But the top tips that you ran through, it just really resonated. Hold on, right?
Yeah, and I'd never even heard of morning routines before. I don't know if anyone else is like this, but I went into the running your own business world, and then just everyone was talking about them, like as if it was this thing that everyone did, and I was like, what? Well, hold on a minute. I've never heard of this before. Like, am I meant to have a morning routine? So, if this is new to you as well, this isn't like this big kept secret. This is just something that when you find out, it clicks, and until you find it out, you just don't know that a morning routine could help you.
Yeah, and I think people who maybe don't work the same as us, oh, I think I can hear the sound back. Turn your sound on.
I'll put these back in. I'll put these back.
Sorry.
It was better with them in.
There.
Is that better?
Yeah. People who maybe aren't in businesses like us, I know, like you said, they don't quite understand because it's something they haven't heard before. And people will say to me, yeah, but you're so organised, super organised. You don't have to be organised all the time. And they're right. There is definitely a bit of flexibility there, and we can obviously go into that later. But organisation changes your life, and having a morning routine is really, really powerful. So, yeah hopefully we'll enlighten some people this evening as well about the benefits.
Yeah, absolutely.
So why do you think it's really important for people to sort of have that morning routine then?
Well, this is something I learned from my business coach, and my business coach is, I don't want to use the word robot because it sounds negative, but he's a creature of habit, and he showed me the importance of habits to be successful. Because what a morning routine is an example that you can stick to a habit, and it is these habits that will make your business successful. If you can do, for example, another habit that people do is like their most important task at 9 a.m. If you do these habits consistently every day in the areas of your life that are important to you, that is a massive intention. And so I guess there's three things. One is beginning the day with purpose, and it's the part of the day that's going to set you up for your entire day. So if you do this thing where you just get up, you roll out of bed, you leave the bed all messy, you like sit there with a coffee, being like really tired, or you just turn on the TV and you just have this downtime, like that mindset of how productive you were at the beginning of your day is going to affect your mindset for the rest of the day. So one thing is, a massive thing is on mindset, is you want to begin your day with the mindset that you want to live the rest of the day. So if you want to be super productive, if you want to feel really positive and powerful, you need to begin your day in a positive and powerful way with intention. And we'll talk about later like what that means, but aligned to your values, not just like you've got to follow this routine because this is what makes a successful person. It's about thinking, well, what's important to me?
Yeah.
Let's begin the day aligning my day with what's important to me. So when I go into the day, it's just like, yeah, so I've done this routine that makes me powerful, and now I'm going to continue being powerful and living with intention.
Definitely.
But
I think it can be quite hard sometimes, can't it? If maybe if you're not going to a 9 to 5 job, if that's because maybe you're at home with the children all day, or because you're a female entrepreneur, it can be quite hard to get out of bed at a set time and stick to that and kind of have that routine, because you're like, oh, maybe I'll just switch that alarm off and go back to bed. But you're right, definitely sticking to that routine in the morning. You've got to have that intention, haven't you? That this is how I'm starting my day, and I'm going to carry it on that way as well.
Exactly, and the other thing about if you're working for yourself that I think you have less than if you're in a 9 to 5 is if you're in a 9 to 5, your decisions are fairly limited. You've got to get up, you've got to get dressed, you've got to get in the car, you've got to go to that 9 to 5, however you get there. And then you're probably stuck to their schedule of kind of when you're going to have lunch and things like this.
Yeah.
But if you're working for yourself, you have so many decisions to make. What are you going to focus on? What's your most important goal? What do you do if you're tired? What are you going to have for lunch? Are you going to go out today? And like the mental fatigue that can cause of decision after decision after decision. Another thing a morning routine does is it stops that mental fatigue first thing. So you put your energy into, I do the set thing every morning. That sets my day with intention and power. And I'm not thinking, oh, shall I do some exercise this morning? Or shall I have a coffee? Or shall I go for a walk? Because you know what you're going to do. And that's, I don't know, having experienced that myself, it's just like, yeah, get up and do it. And you're not second guessing, can you be bothered to go to the gym? You just get up and you do the things that you know are important.
And it's amazing how much more you can fit into your day when you do that as well, because you've not got that procrastination. Yeah. And it's like, okay, I need to make sure I do this, this and this. And by scheduling in the time, you realise, oh, actually, I have got time to do that. And, oh, yeah, I've got time to do that as well. Wow.
And this raises another really good point, is that if you're like me, like self-care is one of the first things. I know you talk about self-care a lot on your page. Like self-care is one of the things that gets dropped. And like when you're running your own business, the pressure is on and you're like, okay, well, the kid's in nursery now. I should just start working right now because there's so much to do. And the second you do that, you're putting your self-care separate to, like, second to your business. And your self-care shouldn't be second to your business. It should be the most important. So when you give, like, I'm in that great position now I'm working full-time on my business. I actually have an hour. And I have to force myself to spend that hour on my morning routine and not just, like, get straight on my business. And that is a mental thing that I'm telling myself, you are important. You are in control of this. And this is an expression of the things that are important to you, not just being successful in business.
Definitely. So you do make sure you get out of your pyjamas in the morning then, and you're not sitting there behind your computer in your pyjamas then, Gemma, no?
Well, I have a 2-year-old, so if I have to take him to nursery, and it's frowned upon if you do that in your pyjamas. So I'm up and dressed anyway. But you then have to retrain yourself to come in and do this routine. For you. But I did a morning routine before I was on full-time on my business, which was with my toddler there. And so I'd love to share some tips. Like if you're listening to this and you're like, well, I've got 3 kids and I literally don't get a second alone. That doesn't mean you can't do a morning routine. It's just going to be very adapted.
Yeah, definitely. What are the sort of tips you'd say then to someone that has got children that they can sort of
Okay, yeah.
incorporate, and start their own morning routine?
Yeah. So, there's a few things. Well, first, just to mention, like, I always try and hit 3 pillars, and you don't have to do this, but like, I heard this somewhere and I really like it. And it's basically the physical pillar, the mental pillar, and the emotional pillar.
Yeah.
So, like, the physical is anything to do with you, like your body. So, it's anything that's going to wake you up. Think kind of exercise, 20 squats when you get up. I do this 7-minute workout that I love, which is an app, or just a cold shower or a walk. So like if I don't manage to do my exercise because I walk my son to nursery, I'm like, okay, well I've walked him to nursery,
Yeah.
I've got a 15-minute walk, that counts as my physical pillar. Physical, mental, which is anything to do that gets you thinking. So it could be reading, writing, doing an online course. You can make space for that in the morning. And then emotional, which is really when you're getting in touch with, say, something that brings your feelings. So journaling, meditation, but also key in this one is time with loved ones. And this is super important. So this leads on to my tips for mums, is that the point of a morning routine is about being intentional. It's not about it being an hour long, but it's about you starting your day with something that's important to you. So one quick win as a mum or anyone is make the bed. Like
Yeah.
get up, do it with your kids, make it fun, like, but make the bed and leave your bedroom thinking this room is kind of, like set for the day, I'm set for the day. That takes no time. I didn't make my bed for 30 years. I don't know why I didn't make my bed, but now I do. I'm like, this just makes me feel so much better than not making the bed.
Yeah.
So that's a tiny thing you can do and tick off. I don't know what pillar that is, but you just tick off like, I've done something with intention. It's a great thing to teach your kids young as well. Now my 2-year-old helps me make the bed and I like that. It's sweet.
And I love the fact that when you do start to introduce this sort of structure and a little bit of routine, like you said, you have your children involved in it, but it's sort of promoting independence for them as well then. So they're picking up those habits and they're starting to learn that they can do stuff, and it takes the pressure off you a little bit because you can start to say to them, do you know what, you can make your bed now. Okay, it might not be how mummy wants it done, but that's okay. You could do it. You're a big girl, you can do that now. So that's really good to get them involved, definitely.
And I'll give you another example that I did with my son. Like I've got into that awful habit where he like mostly drinks juice. And I was just like, oh my God, like he doesn't drink water, this is awful. Then I entered into my morning routine, drinking a glass of water first thing. And I started saying to him, Mummy drinks water first thing to wake up her body. And like within a week, he's getting his cup and being like, Charlie's waking up his body with water. And like he's buying into this routine because we do it every day. And so you look at the habits of your kids and you think they're difficult to change. It's just habit. So like that is another thing. If you're just thinking, I can't do anything lengthy, make the bed, have a glass of water. You've already started your day with more intention than not doing that.
Yeah, definitely. That's a really good idea, actually. I'm just thinking sort of maybe looking more for female entrepreneurs now who might be like watching and they're kind of thinking, okay, that's great. I can sort of do that. I can get the kids to nursery or school in the morning, and then I've got my list of stuff to do. And they sort of, I find when they talk to me, they don't kind of have that routine in the morning for themselves. So a bit like you were saying earlier, you can kind of go from one job to the other to the other. What do you feel about that once you've actually got to start structuring your day a bit more for yourself as a female entrepreneur? Because that's what you're doing now, isn't it?
Yeah, and I would say start by thinking about what's important to you, but bear in mind that your morning routine will change. So you're not like setting something in stone for the rest of your life. Like, so at the moment, I've decided I want to read a business book a month to contribute to my business skills. So that's part of my morning routine, and I read from anything from 15 minutes to half an hour every morning. Now, if I was doing an online course, I would swap that for my online course learning. So basically, I have a period of learning in the morning. So if learning is one of your key values, build something to do with learning into your morning routine. That's my advice with the mental one.
Yeah.
With the physical one, I'm a big fan of exercise in the morning, just anything to get your heart rate up. But if you're not a fan of that, I'd recommend the cold shower because it's super powerful. It like fills your body with energy. It's like a mental and physical kind of boost, and it's super easy to achieve as well. But highly recommend what I do, the 7 Minute Workout app. I've tried to do longer workouts and I just feel like I'm itching to start work.
Yeah.
I'm just like, whereas 7 minute, it goes so quickly, it's super intense and it's structured, like, and it tells me if I've done it every day. So you get that kind of accountability of that. So the physical, or if you don't like either of those, get out in nature.
Yeah.
Because especially if you do work from home, that kind of walk outside, just and try and do it without thinking about your emails, your social media, like look in the sky, listen to the birds, like just appreciate the fact that we live in a beautiful world, and like just try and recognize all of that natural essence, if you like.
And I think that's a lovely one to sort of incorporate into your morning routine, even if it's just having your coffee and going into the garden and just sitting there, because we get so busy now, so wrapped up in our lives, whether it's going to work, whether it's our lives revolving around our children, whatever it is, we never actually get out there and just appreciate things. And it's taking that time sort of to step back, isn't it? Have your coffee and just enjoy being outside, see the birds flying, listen to the sounds, you know, and then go back again and then get yourself into work, you know, sort of mode.
That's why... Sorry, you go.
No, I was going to say there's a comment there that from Dave. So he said the most counterintuitive yet valuable quote I've heard in the last couple of years is your routine sets you free. And it does.
Totally.
Yeah.
And people think it's the opposite. Like I hear all the time my clients say I don't have enough time.
Yes.
Like this is a scarcity mindset.
Yeah.
This is a mindset of lack. You actually have like pretty much infinite amount of time. So think of your day as I have all this time and I get to choose what I spend that time on. So if there's not enough time, you need to drop some things out of what you're doing because you can't fit them in. And this morning routine, setting you free, that's such a good quote. It's so true. It really does set you free. You will feel more powerful starting the day with intention than you will start working earlier and being less productive later.
And I think it helps you as well to prioritise what's actually important, because quite often you'll have a list and you'll say, I haven't got enough time to do all my list. But when you break it down and say, actually, that one's been on my list for so long, I don't need to have it on my list anymore because it's not actually that important. So you can start to look at what hours you've got in the day, what jobs you've got to do, and then work out which ones are important. Is it important that you're hoovering the carpet every single day, or can you do it every other day? You know, it's little things like that. Yeah, definitely.
Which leads me on to the third pillar, which is the emotional one, because you mentioned kind of going outside and sitting with a cup of coffee, and that could be your emotional pillar.
Yeah.
Another really popular one is meditation. I have been trying to get into, I'm still not into meditation. I'm like 10 years behind the times and trying to catch up. But especially if you're self-employed or anyone that's really busy and you never stop, this is your chance to like slow down and just recognize where you're at. But what I do, if you're also not into meditation, and I just happen to have it next to me, is this, which is 2-minute journal.
Okay.
There's an even more popular one called the 5-minute journal, but this is the one I use, and I'll just show you. It's got in it like every day you do what you'll let go of. So that's starting your day by letting go of any regrets and resentment. If you don't do this, it's really good to think, what am I holding on to that is going to play on my mind in the day that I need to let go of at the beginning?
Yeah.
The second bit is gratitude. If you haven't heard of like journaling about gratitude, it's probably the most powerful one for me, and I list anything that I'm grateful for. And it used to be big things when I started, like I'm grateful for my health. And now it's things like I'm grateful for when my son put his hand on my hand when we were watching TV. Like tiny things, because the only way you will remember these things is by recalling them. If you then write them down and you can look through your gratitude journal and just think, wow, you know, I'm so lucky, I'm so grateful. That's really powerful. And then the final thing in my journal is 3 things you're going to focus on for the day. And that sounds so simple, but I even have a separate planner, but that planner is like the can you do it in 3 rather than like the 10 things you're going to achieve. So then when I'm looking at the 10 things, I'm like, no, but those are the 3 things I have to get done today.
Yeah.
And that's what I start with, and I can't recommend journaling enough if you don't journal. I think that's the game changer when you start writing your thoughts and feelings down for me.
Definitely. I absolutely love that, because a lot of that stuff is stuff I'll talk to my clients about, but actually getting them to implement it on a daily basis, that's their sort of routine, isn't it? Start it first thing in the morning, have your cup of coffee, sit there with your journal and put it all down on paper. You're sort of making yourself a little bit more accountable then as well. So I know
True.
some of the mums that I work with will kind of say, yeah, but when I've dropped the kids off at school, I've got so much to do. And, you know, maybe their partner comes home later and don't quite realise what they have actually been doing. And it's quite easy for them to sort of not do something for themselves because they're so busy trying to keep on top of everything else. Whereas with the journal like that, that's ideal, because then they can sort of set that intention and say to themselves, actually, I'm going to find time for me. I'm going to do something for me today, because that's really, really crucial. I love that.
Yeah, one thing I'd really recommend as well is talk to your family about the things that are important to you. So once I spoke to my partner about my 7-minute workout and that I really wanted to do that every day, that means that he makes space for me to do that even at the weekends. He's
Yeah.
gone early in the morning in the weekday, so that's kind of down to me. But try not to drop your morning routine at the weekends. It's something I'm really bad for. But I realised this weekend I didn't do my 2-minute journal.
Yeah.
And then I looked back at what I'd achieved on the 2 days and thought, I can't even think that I've achieved like anything super powerful, because I didn't even think what I wanted to achieve. So it's not just a work thing, it's like a whole mindset thing of, do you want to finish your day and think, I achieved the 3 things I wanted to achieve today, which I wrote down in my journal and then I made happen.
Yeah. And you've touched on it a little bit there about saying about your partner's been quite supportive for you, but I don't want people watching to kind of think, well, if we're looking at implementing a morning routine, that's going to mean complete structure. There still needs to be that flexibility there where you can say, okay, this is what I want to do. If something else crops up or something takes more time, that's okay. But how did you find with children, how do you think that's going to affect children when you suddenly like implement a new morning routine? Do you think that's something they're just going to take like a duck to water, or is there going to be a bit of resistance there?
It's a really good question. And you know what? I'm not as rigid as mine as some other people. So, like, I'm thinking of this brilliant post that my coach posted on Facebook yesterday, and he put like his time breakdowns of when he does things.
Mm-hmm.
I can't do that. Like, I have a 2-year-old.
Yeah.
Like, it just doesn't happen like that.
Yeah.
So, there's a couple of things. One, don't beat yourself up about your morning routine if you miss it. It's not like beat you around the head, you missed your morning routine, your day is screwed.
Yeah.
Like, if you just don't do it one morning, just like let that go in your journal the next day and be like, okay, I didn't do it today. But what's the key point here? One, I only ever try and like hit 2 out of 3 of my pillars. Like, I'll go with the intention of hitting 3, but life gets in the way, or I'll really be into my book and I'll decide I don't want to do like the next one, but that's okay for me. So you've got to get comfortable with the level of flexibility you want. But also sometimes my toddler wants to like hang out a bit more, and like one will get pushed. So see it as a little bit fluid. Try and hit the 3 things you want to do, but don't be rigid about times if you don't have that flexibility in your life. So like, a typical morning for me is make the bed, bring my toddler down, we have a glass of water, then I get him to nursery so I can come back and do things. If I still had him though, I'd probably get my gym stuff on, do a 7-minute workout with him watching TV. It's not a super perfect space to do it, but I've still done it and it still makes me feel good. And I can sit doing my 2-minute journal with him, and sometimes I get him a piece of paper so he's next to me like colouring, and we're both just sitting there doing something. But then my fallback, if everything goes completely wrong, is for me as a mum to spend intentional time with my son. And that's part of my emotional pillar. So, it doesn't you don't have to do a morning routine which is at odds with the way you want your life to be. So I was finding that I was just like coming downstairs and sticking the TV on for my son, and then he was going off to nursery, and I was thinking maybe I should have spent some time with him. So now we come downstairs and I follow this great mum on Instagram called 5 Minute Mum, and she just does 5 minute activities with her kids like every morning. So it's just 5 minutes, and it's a tiny game, and it's just something that's one-on-one that has them interacting without technology. And if I missed all my pillars, and I wouldn't because I've made my bed and I've had a glass of water, I do quick wins, but then I feel great because I feel like I've achieved something as a mum. I feel like I've given my son attention. So even if your morning routine is to sit outside having a coffee, the fact that you're doing that with intention before you begin your day is a great start.
Yeah. I love that idea, and I'm going to definitely have a look and follow her on there, because I'm the same. I've got a 6-year-old and a 3-year-old, so could definitely do with some little ideas. And I think technology does sort of become part of routine. We're in that age where maybe the children do just think to switch the television on, and they do it every morning automatically, and maybe that's not a good thing. And being more purposeful in the morning and finding time for them to do things is really important. So I like that tip. That's a really good tip.
But recognize, like with the TV thing, that these are all habits.
Yeah.
So what we're talking about is get yourself super aware with the habits you're currently doing. Look at whether they align with the values you want to be living. And if they don't align, think of subtle changes you can make to make your mornings align, because it will make you feel more powerful.
Yeah, definitely. I was sort of thinking as well, like with the whole power of the morning routine, obviously a lot of people are saying, well, I'm really getting overwhelmed by the fact that I've got so much to do. And obviously with you saying about the journal, that's a great one, because they're setting out through the day what they want to be looking at and things. But actually there's so many little benefits as well. So it's actually getting rid of the overwhelm, because you're starting the day with the structure. You're taking away that anxiety because you already know what's going to happen in your day. So you've started out the right way, and then you know what you're going to focus on. So there's that lower level of stress. You're increasing the productivity as well. So you're actually getting more done in the day because you're time blocking it out, and that's going to help you as well. But something I always notice is when people are telling me they haven't got a routine in place, particularly in the morning, they're not eating breakfast. They're rushing off to work, they're rushing off to take their kids to school, or they're starting on whatever it is that they've got to finish for a client, and they're missing out their breakfast, which is the most important meal of the day for them to fuel their bodies, to help them feel good. And I'm always like, you must have your breakfast in the morning. You have to have that as part of your routine, to make sure that you're ready for the whole day, really, because it sets you up, because it's quite easy to sort of miss your lunch as well, isn't it, when you get caught up in everything. And then by that point, it's dinner time again. So that power in the morning to make sure that you've done all those self-care things, because it is basic self-care, isn't it? It's really important.
Yeah, you know what as well, like the morning routine, this is a bad expression for it, but it's like the gateway drug for you being much more structured in the rest of your life. Like most people think, oh yeah, I plan what I do each day, but when you see how powerful, say, a morning routine is, so first the morning routine came, then I have an hour and a half most important task block. And I've just started using the Pomodoro method. I don't know if people have heard of this, but it's like a tomato timer. 25 minutes, 5-minute break, 25 minutes, 5-minute break, 25 minutes, then you get a longer break. The best productivity tip. My friend blogged on it the other day, and I started it, changed my life.
Wow.
But then you're looking at the rest of your day, and you're like, okay, time block there, time block there, time block there, and you just start using your time much more wisely, because just living with intention, it comes back to this habits of successful people. And if you look at the people that are successful, we've all heard of these crazy morning routines when these people say, 2:30 a.m. is the time to get up and start these like 5-hour morning routines. I think most of us are like 10 steps behind, just trying to put in a couple of consistent habits which contribute to our productivity.
Yeah.
And start small. So don't go, like, if you want to start a morning routine and just experiment, Don't think, right, I'm going to begin these 3 pillars tomorrow. Start one habit at a time. Start with one pillar. So look at the 3 pillars: physical, mental, emotional, and think, which do you think would most contribute to your life at this point? Pinpoint that, pick a habit, and try it for a week. Don't even think I've got to do this for the rest of the year. This is why New Year's resolutions are so high pressure, because we're saying, you've got to do this for the whole of 2019.
Yeah.
Just begin it, and then ideally put some time aside to reflect on whether it's what it's bringing to your life. If it's not bringing anything and you're dreading you dread it every day, stop doing it. This is your life, and it's not anything to control you, it's something to set you free. That exact quote. So make sure it is doing that.
Yeah, I love that. That's a really good one as well. So there's one last thing I was going to ask you. It's completely gone out of my mind now. I'm like, oh no, what was it? Completely gone. Oh no, it's a really good one as well. Was there anything else you were sort of thinking about that you wanted to share with it? Oh, I know what it was now. That was it. I was going to ask you, obviously, you've sort of incorporated this into your life now. How long have you been doing this for? And when you first started, how long did it take you to sort of settle into the routine? Because that's the thing. Sometimes you kind of put it off because you think, do you know what? I'm not that person that's organised. I'm not that person that's in the routine. That's never going to be me. I can't do it. And all those little self-doubts come, when actually you are living proof that you can go from not having that morning routine to put it in place and to get to that level where you're actually living, like you said, with intention every day. How long?
Yeah, and I'll be totally honest, because I'm the great example of this, because I found it so hard. And I just remember reading all these blogs on it saying how powerful it is and habits of successful people, and me just thinking, I'm probably not a successful person then, am I? I can't do this.
That's it.
And my coach, who is just incredible, he has a 2-hour morning routine. So I was looking at that as kind of my base. And then I was looking at my toddler and being especially, when your kids aren't sleeping.
Yeah.
Because bringing tiredness into the mix is a whole nother story. But I can't emphasize enough to try it that this is the perfect thing if that is the case. Forget the exercise. If you're not sleeping, don't try and bang out 20 minutes exercise. Go for the cold shower one, something that's going to wake you up.
Yeah.
But I started it over and over again, and I failed. And every time I spoke to my coach, I'd be like, I don't think this is for me. I don't think anyone's ever done this with kids. How is it even realistic? When am I meant to do it? I'm just struggling to get 2 human beings dressed at the moment. When am I going to start sitting down with my journal?
Yeah.
And he was like, take the pressure off and think what's realistic. Don't try and do a 15-minute meditation. Can you do a 1-minute meditation?
Yeah.
Where you sit down on the sofa, or you sit down on the floor of the sofa, and you have 1 mindful minute.
Yeah.
And I failed at that one as well. That's the meditation, the meditation one that I'm not quite there with yet. So the thing that changed my life was the 2-minute journal. Because instantly when I started that, I saw the benefit, and that's what I wasn't seeing from some of the other ones I was trying. And then that one gave me the kind of momentum to think, okay, this habit's helping. What's the next habit I could do? And the next one came the workout one. And can I just say, previous to the last year, I didn't go to the gym, I didn't exercise, I did nothing. Yeah. And then I began the 7-minute workout. I'm now at the slimmest I've ever been, the healthiest I've ever been. And that is purely down to that 7-minute habit every morning. Yeah. I don't go to the gym loads other than that.
It's really interesting you say that, because my sister is a stay-at-home mum, and she's got 2 under the age of, what are they, 2.5? So she's very busy with them, but she said exactly the same to me, and I'm wondering if it's the same 7-minute workout that she's doing, because she said exactly the same. She's like, I don't have time to do anything else, I don't have time to exercise or go to the gym, but she's incorporated this 7 minutes into her day. She has her 2 children there, she can do it with them, they can do it, because although I'd never promote anyone talking to their children about weight loss, obviously this isn't weight loss, this is getting healthy, this is getting fit, this is incorporating exercise into a healthy lifestyle. So absolutely your children can be doing things with you, there's no reason why not. And for me, what I do with my children, we do Just Dance. So we put Just Dance on the television and we do it together because that's a bit of fun, you know. And we don't do it for ages, but that's a little bit of exercise that I've got then going on every day. So that's quite nice. And there's another good tip actually is in the evenings, so not morning as such. I've been using yoga with my children, but we have one that we found on YouTube that's specifically for children. So you can then do it, they incorporate it with stories, but it's a great time for you to sort of chill out then as well, because you want to sort of relax yourself. If you've been sticking to your routine all day, working hard, you can then incorporate that into what you're doing with your children. So that's quite nice as well.
Totally, like sun salutations with kids is
Yeah,
great. Like anything like that, it's fun.
yeah,
It's something they can really buy into. And what you'll find will happen as you begin it. So when I began my 7-minute workout, is I began to realize how much exercise affected my mental state.
yeah,
So now I swim every once a week. I do netball once a week. I try and go to the gym once more. This has been a game changer since
yeah,
you change small habits and you realize the effect, and you're like, oh, so if I did it more, the effect would be greater. So it sounds so small, and it can literally be 5 minutes if you don't have any more time than that. But yeah, I'm just a massive testament to the power of it if you can do it.
yeah.
But also, I fail all the time. So just to say that, like, I'm not one of these people that will say every single day I've stuck to my morning routine.
No.
Sometimes I just don't do it, and it doesn't make me less powerful. It makes me think, wow, this is showing me how important consistency is.
Yeah.
It's the same with everything in your business. Like, everyone that doesn't market themselves well enough, that doesn't sell themselves enough, it's all about consistency.
Yeah.
And consistency can start from the second you wake up.
That's it. Every day is a new day, so it's a new chance for you to get back on it and find out what's worked. So like you were saying, some of the really good tips I've taken from today is start small. Like you were saying, choose one of the pillars, one of the things that you can incorporate, and start building on that morning routine. So the more you're rewarding yourself and saying well done and recognising that you've done well, then you're going to carry that on. Because I think we find it so easy to beat ourselves up, don't we? You know, I haven't done very well today, I'm not going to do very well tomorrow, I've missed this again. But actually it's saying, do you know what, I did really well with the first part, I'm going to carry that on every day. So the simple thing for you, saying I make the bed, I have my glass of water, that is the start of your routine. And that's something so simple that you can do every day. You really can.
I've got one other example that I've just remembered that I've been trialing this week.
Yeah.
Because this is the thing, you can trial things, it's fun.
Yeah.
Is to do 60 squats as you brush your teeth. No one ever brushes their teeth for 2 minutes, do they? Unless you have some sort of timer, like everyone's just like, yeah, it's about 60 squats is about 2 minutes.
Brilliant.
It's a great one to do, and it's within the time you already have. You're not adding any more time to your day. Imagine finishing every day. How great your butt's going to be if you've done 60 squats. I know if you've done 120 squats at the end of every single day.
That's brilliant. Yeah, I love that. That's a great one. If anyone ever tells me they don't have time to exercise again and they want to, that's going to be one. I'm going to say, well, Gemma does 120 squats a day while she's brushing her teeth, so you can do it too. I love it. Exactly. I've got no excuse now. Because that is it. It's self-care. We've all got 7 minutes a day to do our little exercise. We've all got 2 minutes in the morning and 2 minutes in the evening to brush our teeth and squat. Definitely. I like that. That's brilliant. Super. Well, thank you, Gemma. There were some really good ideas there. Was there anything else you sort of thought with regards to morning routine that you wanted to share?
Just do it. That's the thing I'm leaving with. Just like start small and do it. It'll change your life.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, well, thank you. Before you go though, do you want to tell people maybe how they can connect with you if they want to reach out? And obviously you can put your social media links down in the chat as well, so they can go and follow you and give you a like.
Yeah, totally. So you can, if you're on Facebook, my page is Gemma Gilbert Coaching. You're going to see a theme with all of these now. My Instagram is gemma.gilbert.coaching, and my website is gemmagilbert.com. You can reach out to me by email, gemma@gemmagilbert.com. or just like on any of those channels. This has been a great experience for me. I'm going to be going live on my page every week following this. It was really great doing
Well
that
done.
challenge with you as well.
Yeah.
Seeing you all pro, so I'm going to get doing the lives.
Good.
And it's great to connect with you and your audience. And thanks for having me.
Good. Thank you, Gemma. Okay. See you
Thanks.
later.
Bye.
Bye.